Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Polygamer. My name is Ken Gagne and I'm your host. Before we get to this week's interview, I want to share some news with you. Moving forward, Polygamer is going to be an audio-only podcast. The rest of my YouTube channel is staying in place. The Let's Plays, the Indie-Cider, the unboxings, and Polygamer will continue, but it will not have a video edition. You're going to be able to find the audio in iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and all the other usual places that you've been able to find it ever since we launched back in July. This has been the plan from the get-go for a couple of different reasons. First, an audio format is just a better format for this kind of content. Listening to two people speak, we want to get right into your heads, and that means getting into your earbuds, and that means an audio podcast. It's really easy to download and listen to, and I hope that you'll come along and listen to that version of the show. Second, audio is much more accessible for some people. Not only consumers who don't have to glue their eyeballs to the screen, but also to the show's guests. There are a ton of fantastic people doing amazing work in equality and diversity in video gaming, and not all of them have easy access to web cameras or want to sit in front of one for an hour while I interview them. Moving the show to an audio-only format will allow me to deliver even greater content and better interviews and more amazing guests to my fine audience, my listeners, you. The reason we had a video edition at all is because we have 35,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I want to let them know about this amazing new venture. I think the word has gotten out now, and I'm hoping that anybody who has been following the video will follow the audio as well. So you can click the links in the video description. If you have your iTunes annotations turned on and you're not watching this on a mobile device, you can click the links right in the video. Either way, you'll be able to find the show on polygamer.net, iTunes, and Stitcher. So with that out of the way, I want to share the news that I went to AlterConf earlier in September. This was a micro convention about 3 hours long, debuting in Boston and occurring soon in New York City, and then at various cities throughout the country, all hosted by Ash Dryden. The talk centered on a variety of issues of equality and diversity in tech industries, not just gaming, and it was a diverse and fascinating lot. I definitely identified some people who you'll be hearing from later on in future episodes of Polygamer. You've already heard from one of them. Khadija Marenkov was on our most recent episode, and she was one of the featured speakers at the debut AlterConf. So congratulations to her, Maddie Myers, and the many other fantastic speakers I heard that night. Thank you to the guests, the hosts, and all the wonderful sponsors. Speaking of our most recent episode, I mentioned that I would not be talking about Gamersgate. Well, I went ahead and wrote a blog post about the topic anyway. But my goal was not necessarily to contribute anything new or original to the conversation because I think it's all been said by now. My purpose in writing this blog post was to make outside communities aware that this event had happened. Now sure, it's been in the New Yorker and in Time magazine, but there's still a lot of people who don't know about Gamergate, and even if they don't know about it, they're still being affected by it. My target audience for this blog post was Apple II users. People who still use, as a hobby, the Apple computers that Apple made prior to the Macintosh, which came out in 1984. So the Apple II came out in 1977, and I have hosted a podcast on that topic. I publish a quarterly magazine, I have a weekly blog post, and several of the writers who are in the gaming industry got their start on the Apple II, either as writers or as gamers. And some of them have left the industry now because of Gamergate. And that affects Apple II users because now we have fewer reporters and journalists that we can rely on. So I want to draw attention to that intersection. And so I wrote a very brief blog post and put it on my Apple II Bits blog. There will be a link to that in the show notes. So for this week's show, since we are going audio only, we're going to debut that with an audio recording that has been made available to us by Mr. Travis Stewart. And he was at PAX Prime earlier this year in August, and he recorded a panel called The F Word. The F word in this case being feminism. This panel included Brianna Wu, Susan Arndt, and Tifa Robles, who were all on my PAX East panel earlier this year on a similar topic. Because, now I need to apparently tell you when I know people. That's a thing. Thanks, Gamergate. Anyway, it was a really interesting panel, and Mr. Stewart has put the video on his YouTube channel. You can find him on Twitter and on YouTube at BrokenCRT. And he has made available to the Polygamer show the audio of that panel and allowed us to publish it here for your listening pleasure. So since the video is already on YouTube, I'm not going to copy his video and put it in this feed. But if you want to listen to the audio, go ahead and click this link and you'll be able to download the MP3 version of Polygamer. So thanks so much for watching these past 6 episodes, and thank you for listening to this and all future episodes. I have some fantastic guests lined up over the next several months, and I'm looking forward to bringing you these interviews in the audio edition of Polygamer. In the meantime, stay subscribed to YouTube channel Gamebits for a variety of other fascinating gaming content. Thanks for watching.